This week in Jamaica now, women accused of beating a teen to an unconscious state now charged with criminal offenses. Hospital explains why the injured girl can't do an MRI. Untold grief. A 5-year-old boy is mauled by dogs in St. Anne. In Clarendon, another is found dead at a sewage plant. Meanwhile, the Parliament is now one step closer to enacting a new dog attack law. Then,
it is clear at this time that we are expecting to see a surge.
Health authorities bracing for COVID surge in Jamaica. JAS warns Jamaicans to expect food shortage for Christmas. Prime Minister details $1 billion road program following flood rain damage. And Dayton Campbell could become the new PNP General Secretary and Angela Brownberg the first woman chairman. I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. We begin with news that 5 women charged in connection to the gruesome beating of a 17-year-old St. Andrew girl are to appear in court on December 2. They remain in jail pending the outcome of their court appearance. Timone Williams, Christiane Lewis, Shakima McLeod, Nadine Aldridge, and Yolande Vassell have each been charged with wounding with intent and unlawful wounding. The teen, Kaylin Dowdy, was attacked and beaten to an unconscious state by a group of women on Saturday, November 7, at an illegal party in Barbican, St. Andrew. It happened after one of the women became angered by the way in which the teen reportedly looked at her. Dowdy, a past student of the Pepin High School in St. Andrew, remains in hospital on a life support machine. Meanwhile, the University Hospital of the West Indies has rejected reports that the child is on a 1-month waiting list for an MRI. The hospital says already she has had 2 CT scans. However, she is not able to be off ventilatory support for more than 30 minutes required for the MRI. The St. Anne boy, who was last week mauled by dogs in Jamaica, has been flown to the United States for treatment. He left the island in the company of his mother on Friday.
I feel very excited and thankful, and I'm glad for the help, and I hope it works.
The incident had ignited emotions across Jamaica. Since then, some of the dogs linked to the attack have been captured and put to death. And the government is now one step closer to enacting a new dog attack law. It will provide for the criminal prosecution of negligent dog owners. On conviction, they will be fined between $500,000 and $3 million.
It's not an imprisonment that is intended, it is a fine. But in default of payment of a fine, it is a term of imprisonment. These are really deterrent criminal, quasi-criminal offenses. So what this subsection does is to ensure that in the parish courts, the persons who are fined do not have a criminal record.
There was untold grief for a Clarendon family this week after a 6-year-old boy, O'Shane O.J. Banton, was found dead in a sewage plant in Lioneltown, Clarendon. He had been reported missing a day earlier. It has been especially painful for the boy's mother, Anika Davidson. She said the last time she saw her 6-year-old son, he begged her to take him to Maypen with her, but she told him she would soon be back home. O'Shane and his 3-year-old sister were left in the care of their grandmother while their mother attended to business in the parish capital.
When me 6-year-old could not do no. I didn't live bad with nobody. My daddy don't live bad with nobody. My granny didn't live around a few much years. When I don't live bad with nobody.
The health ministry is bracing for a surge in COVID-19 cases for Christmas. At the same time, health authorities are pleading for people to take all the precautions for COVID to reduce the possibility of hospitalizations, since bed spaces are usually scarce in the Christmas period when there are often more injuries from traffic crashes and cases of non-communicable diseases requiring in-facility treatment. During a COVID press conference on Thursday, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie said come January the situation will be worse if Thanksgiving activity increases, pushing up the positivity rate.
Every Jamaican has to be a policeman. Every Jamaican has to watch themselves and to watch the persons around them to ensure that they adhere to the measures. Every person has to be responsible for the other, because what we are facing and the reality of it is that the second and third surges in other countries have been way above their previous surges.
As at Friday, Jamaica had 10,151 positive COVID cases with 4,343 active. There have been 235 deaths. The Jamaica Agricultural Society, the JAS, is warning that there will be a shortage of some food in Jamaica this Christmas. It is the result of widespread damage to crops and livestock during the recent heavy rains associated with tropical storms Zeta and Eta. An island-wide survey by the JAS to determine the extent of the damage to crops and livestock is ongoing. However, the JAS is projecting a gloomy outlook for almost every crop. Sorrel, the traditional Yuletide drink, is among those that will likely be in short supply. Vegetables, condiments, and ground provisions have also been badly affected. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced a $1 billion road program for members of Parliament to fix some of the damage caused by the recent heavy rains. Speaking in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, Holness said each of the 63 constituencies will be allocated $15 million through the National Works Agency. Holness said MPs will be allowed to reallocate some of the funds from one category to another. However, he conceded that the money was not enough to rehabilitate damaged roads.
However, it will be able to carry out works that are desperately required. We see the difficulty of road users at this time, and that is why we are now responding.
Prime Minister, I'm hoping that in the future, especially when we have periods like this, where we have a lot of rain, and the bushes that we are experiencing, as all the mongoose left to take away the people out of the road. Right now, this in itself is not adequate enough to help some of the rural constituencies to do any meaningful bushing at this time of the year after the rains that we have seen.
People's National Party President Mark Golding has backed former St. Ann Northwestern Member of Parliament Dr. Dayton Campbell to become the next General Secretary. He's also supporting the bid of Dr. Angela Brown Burke, the St. Andrew Southwestern MP, to become the first woman chairperson of the 82-year-old party. But the defeated St. Catherine East Central candidate, Raymond Price, has publicly said he is interested in becoming General Secretary. Philip Paulwell, the Member of Parliament for Kingston Eastern and Port Royal, has said he wants to become the party chairman. The election is set for Sunday, November 29, when the PNP holds its first National Executive Council meeting since Golding was elected president, succeeding Dr. Peter Phillips. Following the bruising September 3 general election defeat to the Jamaica Labour Party, the JLP, incumbent Chairman Fitz Jackson and PNP General Secretary Julian Robinson indicated that they would be demitting office. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notifications and subscribe today. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, street-side quick service providers in downtown Kingston weigh in on the possibility of extended curfews for the Christmas period.
I just, the safety more concern of, the safety, because the safety, because it don't make sense we have money and we dead left it, and so,
Yeah.
So, whatever we just do whatever him see is best at the time of Christmas, because COVID really out there and keep heavy,
So we can tell the big man, say, Dada, this is what I'm going. So I would love the consider about the people on the side of themselves. Not church was extending now, for cause a lot of controversy in the Christmas, but we used to be long Christmas.
All different nations will sit down and wait for our fireworks. And you want to take for Christmas history? As you're born, even if you don't understand, your mother ever carry go down a fireworks. Your mother take a picture, them take away park. That's the first thing you shouldn't take away. Park shouldn't lock. And you take away park and you come now and come take away fireworks history. But everybody wait for one time for the year. For buy one evil, one fridge, one microwave. One look a good suit of clothes that them never usually buy for them picnic. One look a mat. One look a $200 curtain. Come catch a Correre and fix up them house. And you want to take for history?